impact of government spending is perhaps most dramatic in the West, the launching point for the naval war against Japan.
World War II is the time in which the whole country tilts and pushes west. Southern California and other places sell themselves as ideal for airplane manufacture. The ports are there for shipbuilding, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Oakland. This kind of stuff spreads to mining, to timber, to Air Force and military bases all across the West. What you have here is the beginning of what later on will be called the military-industrial complex, which is not just a Western phenomena, but it certainly is a very strong Western phenomena. The pouring in of large amounts of federal money, that finally all these Western dreams come true. The suburbs spread, the cities grow, this Western cornucopia, and it all comes out of World War II.
Instead of the debilitating unemployment the country had.
Labor unions are organized association of workers, often in trade or profession, formed to protect and further their rights and interests. Unions help employers create a more stable, productive workforce. Workers have a right to impact wages, work hours, benefits, workplace health and safety, job training, and other work-related issues. Labor unions help the workers take control of their working environment.
In 1933 or 1934. So in 1935 and 1936, the New Deal moves in a much more class-conscious way to really provide programs to the forgotten Americans.
By 1935, it becomes apparent that Roosevelt's own political future may be linked to the fortunes of the American workforce.
Roosevelt comes to office, he gives a sense of hope and experimentation, passes a few laws, and this has the effect of galvanizing a labor movement, of bringing millions of workers into unions, of unions putting forth demands for decent treatment at the workplace, for decent wages, for decent hours, for some guarantee of a wage that would allow them to support their family.
Labor unions fought for equality at work. Soon the Knights of Labor unions began. The Knights of Labor unions worked to stop child labor. Named the Noble Order of the Knights of Labor by its first leader, Uriah Smith Stephens, it originated as a secret organization meant to protect its members from employer retaliation. Frank Ronnie was a labor organizer. He led the union movement that rose to power in San Francisco in the late 19th century. Women working in factories often faced terrible working conditions and low wages. During the Progressive Era, working-class women and with middle-class women fought to raise wages and improve working conditions. The WTUL represented a partnership between middle-class reformers and working-class women to raise wages and improve working conditions.
The war also draws increasing numbers of women into the workforce and into roles that had been denied to them.
And yet, even during World War II, several historians who've studied what happens to the workforce have concluded that the workforce remains segregated. Some categories of jobs switch over to women, categories that women would not have held before. But for the most part, jobs which are particularly dirty or which require using particularly heavy equipment, those jobs may remain men's jobs if men can be had for them. On the other hand, there are jobs that women could not have imagined getting before the war, like Rosie the Riveter's jobs, riveting jobs, welding jobs, jobs as certain kinds of supervisors.
Rosie the Riveter was not devoid of racism, particularly in southern industries more than northern industries. When black women were given that kind of work, they took it and ran with it.
Women were always thought of as temporary. When a man went off to fight, he kept his seniority. Not only did he keep it, he added to it, which meant that the minute he came back, if he wanted his job back, it was his. And the person who replaced him, and a lot of them were women, lost her job. And unions thought that was exactly the way that it should be.
You plotted a trend line that started in 1939 and went to 1949 or 1950. You would see a great...